All right, so Ryan and Cassidy Bones, why don't you guys start off by kind of introducing yourselves and giving us a little background maybe of like how you met, how long you guys have been together.
Ladies first.
Oh boy. Well, I am not a doctor. We met after he hired my little sister to be his CA and help him open his office.
Yes.
It took her a long time to come into the office to meet her sister's new boss because she actually hated chiropractors after some really bad experiences previously in her life. But as soon as she showed up, first of all, I was completely starstruck by this super power walk, like pencil skirt, badass of a chick.
Yes.
That came in, and I could not believe that it was Ashley's older sister. And then sure enough, Cassidy started coming around all the time for the weirdest reasons. You know, Ashley needed drinks or she was hungry.
Very thirsty.
Yeah, something. And then pretty soon I got up the courage to ask her out. And then here we are, one thing led to another. And now we're married. And that was 2 years ago, I guess. Not quite. Just over. It was about 2 years ago. And we got married in September on the 8th.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, still newly married. Absolutely.
Still married. It's fantastic.
Good. We like to hear that on this podcast.
Yeah, right?
What can you give us a little background on your business there and how you got it started and kind of where you came from and where you're at now?
Sure, absolutely. I came out of nowhere, literally nowhere, South Dakota, Parker, South Dakota. It's a town of about 1,000 people in the southeast corner of the state, and I grew up on a family farm there. Did my undergrad in Nebraska, got my doctorate in Dallas at Parker University, and then stumbled across Coeur d'Alene when I was scrolling Apple Maps for a town next to a lake with snowboarding nearby, and then flew up about a month and a half before graduation, which was December 2015, and fell in love with the city, fell in love with the entire area, decided this is where I was going to be. So I graduated in December, moved here at the end of December. January 1st, build out started on Beyond Bones Chiropractic, and then opened about 4 months later. And it was April 4th, 2016. And I guess my whole kind of claim to fame is opening really hot, really fast. We had about 105 people pre-booked when we opened in a 3-week wait. And then that, which was fantastic to start, is actually where it was so blessed that's about the time that Cassidy came into my life, because I was not really prepared on the back end, infrastructure-wise, to handle that. I did a great job of bringing people in the doors, but once they got there, I did not have the best procedures and systems, and the team that I initially hired had no office experience. I assumed a lot of things and overlooked a lot of training things, and so we quickly kind of ran into a lot of rocky road. And it was about this time that Cassidy came in, and it was incredible timing because she is amazing at that stuff. And so I kind of feel like she should give some of her background so that you can understand why.
Yeah.
Well, I graduated high school locally and then kind of got hooked up with a real estate team in Spokane and was their assistant and really, really fell in love with real estate. And then, about a year and a half later, I moved to Denver, Colorado, and started doing some property management leasing stuff there and really loved that and was doing really, really well at it. And then eventually moved back home and linked up as an assistant and became a realtor, and did that for a couple years, and then jumped and took a leap of faith and hope, I guess, and started a real estate team with my realtor at the time. And it was a lot of fun, and it actually taught me a lot about business and what to do and what not to do, and like the initial startup of all the paperwork and the processes. I just really fell in love with the analytical side of business more so than the face side of business. So, and thank God, because
we needed it. And she's being humble. She started a killer real estate team that did help start an incredible job. And they eventually expanded from Spokane, Washington into the Idaho area as well, and is still doing well. And so that was somebody that when I met her, I could tell that she had so many of the qualities I was looking for in a life partner, which I was actually previously married. And that one, when we met in chiropractic school, we ended up having very different visions, and it didn't last very long. And so part of me thought I may never get married again. And I thought that I may never find somebody who had the drive and the determination and the work ethic and the vision that I did. And then I met this bullet train, and I met somebody who did, and it blew me off my feet. And so I saw her help run this team and saw how incredible she was at it. And here I am in practice with champagne problems of more than enough people to serve, but a really stressful, rocky, kind of unstable structure behind the scenes. And so I was completely overwhelmed and knew that if I didn't get my ducks in a row, that soon we're going to start to have bigger and bigger issues. And that is when I finally kind of twisted her arm / begged her / convinced her to choose to leave the team that she had helped build, which was extremely hard to make that decision, and to come and help me run Beyond Bones Chiropractic, which she now completely runs Beyond Bones Chiropractic. And I take care of people, and she has, without a doubt, saved this practice multiple times, I think, in her incredible ability to take my messes and sort them out and make them functional. So
that's so awesome. How amazing is that she like enjoys the analytical stuff.
Right.
You're like,
super grateful for that.
Do all of it.
Please, exactly, because I'm the dreamer, wisher, doer that as is in 5 years in the future and forgets to tie my shoes. But she's the one that's there to make sure that all those ideas actually happen, and that I don't get too far ahead of myself. And so I guess we're now, about 1.5 years in practice. And I feel like we're in by far and away the best position we've ever been in practice.
Definitely.
After a lot of unwinding this big knot of things that I had created, she had to pull a lot of threads until it kind of all unraveled, and then we could actually iron them out. And there's been a number of crises here and there that we've gotten through together, and now I feel like things are finally clicking to the level that they can be. And we actually just brought in a new associate, who we're training right now. He graduated in June out of Life West, and he'll start working in the rotation here in about a month, and it's only going to go up from there. So that's the background of how we met and the business.
That's awesome.
Well, I think we can.
No.
I think we can definitely kind of see what your initial goals were when you brought her into the team. Has any of that changed kind of as she started unraveling that big knot and your initial goal and purpose for bringing you together as a team there in the office? Has any of that have you seen it evolve as you have went on?
Yes,
definitely. So when I first started, I was like, I'm just going to come in, I'm going to build some systems and procedures, and then I'm going to get out. Like, this is your thing, you go do your thing. I didn't totally understand chiropractic at all. And I came to love it after going to an AMPT conference, actually. And I was sitting in this room filled with docs and staff and spouses and kids, and all of these people were preaching basically just one thing, and the one thing was love, and just taking care of your community and taking care of the people who will love you and be there for you. And
that was a stark contrast from real estate.
Yeah, and so it's not that real estate is this horrible world, but it's different. Mm-hmm. It's just different. You're not healing people, you're just helping them in a. And
now here she is, just went over your 1 year anniversary here.
Yeah.
And she went from, initially you were kind of just running the front desk and kind of helping do some scans and developing those systems and procedures to completely running the finances. We have brought insurance billing in-house, not exactly by choice, which is an entire story if we want to get into that. Which was a whole other ball of yarn knots that she had to figure out. And so she has since learned how to and took over insurance billing. So she does a lot of that. And she really manages our team. And we have another CA, Kelly, and she does all the training. She does basically everything besides adjust.
Yeah.
But you'll answer the phone, you'll schedule, you'll take care of people, you'll do lots of stuff. And so she really does it all, which is absolutely incredible for somebody who was just supposed to was going to be coming in and then leaving.
Right.
And it's definitely our practice now, not just my practice.
Well, maybe without getting too far out into the details, you mentioned that the insurance like that. I mean, it sounds like it had to be a major decision. How did you guys approach making a big decision like that?
A lot of Googling.
Essentially, we had some insurance billers who we were trusting that they were billing our insurance. After a number of red flags and things that didn't quite make sense, Cassidy started investigating and found that they weren't maybe doing quite as good a job as we thought they were. So we dug a little bit deeper and then found out they really weren't doing the job they thought they were at all. And so we decided we needed to fire them, which left us without an insurance biller. However, after kind of being burned that way, we said, you know what, never again. We're going to figure this out, and we're going to learn how to do it. And so Cassidy learned how to do it. I did not. I actually have no clue. But tell them about that whole journey and where we're at now.
It was probably the most terrifying thing I've ever done in my entire life. It was insane. So I don't know the first thing about insurance. Like, I could sell you a house and write you a contract all day long, but I couldn't bill or even tell you like your insurance benefits and why they're that way in the beginning. And it was a lot of calling back and forth between our EHR and our billing system, the clearinghouse and the insurance companies, and just saying, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I need somebody to help me, please.
Yes, luckily the companies were very nice about helping hold your hand through the process, because I didn't know either. And we have some good mentors who we were able to ask questions of. You reached out to other offices and asked them. We asked, like someone else's wife billed the insurance. Like, she reached out. So we had a lot of great peer and mentor support. And then I remember like the first day when you clicked the button and it said filed, and we were so ecstatic that like the claims went through.
It was so crazy.
And then when we got like the first check finally, after like basically it was about a 2-month cliff of insurance payments after firing them, learning how to do it, getting everything reset up. This was even only a few months ago. You know, we had to really look at our patient, looked through our patient accounts. But the biggest thing is, we didn't know what had been billed in the last year and a half and what happened. And so she had to go back through every single person, every single claim, every single file, every transaction, and find out what had been billed and what hadn't, and then resubmit anything that hadn't. And so we kind of had a savings account in a way of things that luckily, thanks to timely billing, we were okay. But she then started calling our patient AR and finding out, you know, who wants to make a payment. Let's start getting this to kind of try to bridge that gap. And a very terrifying crisis to kind of go through together. Newly married, by the way. This is like
planning our wedding. This is like the last month of planning our
wedding. During our
wedding.
wedding,
And we only had a 3-month engagement.
Yeah, it's quick.
It was really, really crazy. So on month 3 of our engagement, we're getting married on September 8th, and all the insurance billing had stopped on September 3rd. And so we just like.
Yep. And so we had a big cliff to go over when we were brand new. And I think that could have really challenged and really torn apart a lot of couples. And our motto has and forever will be
anything together.
Anything together.
Super cheesy and awesome.
But we know that we can withstand anything as long as it's together. And as long as we kept that at the forefront, you know, as crappy and as tight and as everything as it got, we had each other and we were going to be okay. You know, even if everything collapsed and we were living in a box, if we had each other, we'd be okay. And I think that got us through a lot of really, really tough nights and challenges. And it was absolutely incredible. I mean, this whole thing is, marriage and business together. I can't believe how many people I've told how incredible it is to have a partner in marriage who is also my partner in business. And there's a lot of couples who I don't think could ever do it. They would kill each other. But I love that if we have to work late, we're together. And nobody's at home with cold dinner, pissed off. If we have a win, we celebrate it together. If we have a loss, we celebrate it together. And I mean celebrate because it makes us better. This whole thing has made us a better office because now we have everything in house. We know how to do it. It's been a road for sure in the first 3 or 4 months of marriage.
Oh my gosh. Lots of learning lessons.
But now it's all set, and insurance billing is fantastic, and you do an amazing job. So
good work. I love.
So kind of moving along, we've always asked couples about how they plan their goals. However, we've also been kind of doing a transition for ourselves where we've kind of gotten away from some of the set in stone. This is our 30-day goal. This is our 90-day goal. Because especially we found is starting in business. Neither one of us has built a successful chiropractic office before. Right. So it's really hard to set a specific goal that's 3 months out that is realistic without ever having done it before. You're really just picking a number out of thin air or a set of numbers. And so how do you guys approach planning? I guess maybe that's the best way to ask that now.
Well, I would agree with what you said. We're also not very traditional goal planners. It's more of like this is overall what we want to accomplish this year. Like, how do we get there? And it's never, we've obviously had some like patient visit per week or like this many date nights a month goals, but it's never been like a set in stone. We have to do this because if we don't do this, then we're going to be mad at ourselves or whatever.
We actually, one of the first real goal planning sessions that we had was just within the last month, looking into 2018, kind of what we wanted to do for the practice goal wise. Now given that we had been a year in practice, year and a half, we had some more predictable and realistic measures to say this is where we want to be. Up until that point, it had been we want to do and be the best we possibly can every single day. And so those goals were almost more daily, even down to the minute of just be the best we can, serve people the best we possibly can every single minute. And there's a great Will Smith quote about building a brick wall. You lay each and every brick as perfectly as a brick can be laid, and eventually you have this amazing wall. And so we're finally kind of getting onto our toes rather than our heels about getting things planned. And that's one of our big goals for 2018 is to have the most boring, stable, predictable year ever, because boring, stable, and predictable sounds amazing. And so as a couple, our biggest goal has ever been reserve one day a week for us. And so Sundays is that day. And it's oftentimes not happened, because of whatever, or if it's anything, it's trying to minimize what we have to do. Maybe if it's coming to the office or whatever to Sunday morning, and then try to really just take time together. And I got called really hard on this a couple weeks ago when we were out. We had some stuff planned for us on Sunday, and I wanted to change that plan and work on some projects in the office. And Cassidy got very rightfully upset at me and called me on it and said, our relationship is a project too. And if you ignore it, it's going to fail like any other one. And that kind of stopped me in my tracks. And so I literally keep coming back to that moment in the car every time that I ever want to cancel on her or change a plan or work on my computer with my headphones on instead of hang out and help her on something, because I realized definitively in that moment, and we've talked about it a lot since, is that our relationship and our marriage is our number one priority. And it almost has to be, because if this blew up, inevitably, so would this, so would the practice. and so would every other thing that we're working on, because we have such a strong connection that, and we're so intertwined in our lives that it would be like hell ripping it apart. And so it's really kind of kept us focused on each other and on how important that relationship is, because it's our top priority. And so that, I don't know if that had to do with goals. That's really actually not. But I guess it was a good tangent in that it's been a goal of ours to really set aside block time for us. And then I think being newly married, just some of the big goals that we kind of talk about, of course, are like when are we going to have kids? Like, when do we shoot for that? When is a house in the future? It's honestly, I think we have a little bit each of our own goals that we want to help each other strive and reach for those. And I think it's important to kind of have personal goals and couple goals, and then know and share and make sure that those visions are aligned. And so that's definitely a process for us. With the practice, that's finally been able to be stable enough to have some realistic goals. So like you said, it's really been by the seat of our pants, honestly, up until this point.
Yeah, it's definitely a fluid. Our goals are very fluid. It's not a brick wall.
Well, I like that you stood up for the relationship. Said, man, his brain never shuts off. Never.
His doesn't either.
I can't do this without him. 110%. I could not be here without him. But sometimes I'm like, could we just not do anything for like 10 minutes?
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Just like nothing. I don't want to do anything, but just sit with you.
Yeah.
And we do that.
With no cell phone.
That's kind of part of our New Year's goals, is to get better about just when I'm thinking about something, just making notes about it and then talking about it at a more appropriate time, rather than whenever I think about it, just blurting it out. So one of my personal goals, I guess.
I like that one.
So another challenge that we have is just planning out our days and our week and flow, and we both, and probably me maybe more so, forget appointments we've never forgotten patient appointments. They're on the schedule. We don't forget those, but networking times and meeting with other people and those kind of things, we both tend to forget, I guess. So how do you guys kind of approach your planning for the week and the day and that kind of thing?
I have two planners. So I have like a paper planner that I really use to plan out like long-term goals. Like I have like Mile High and the Sushi Summit and all of those things planned out, so I can look at that ahead of time. But then I also have, this is going to sound ridiculous and very 2018, but I also put everything in my phone, and it goes off on my Apple Watch. And if it does not buzz on my wrist, it does not happen. Forget and not show up. I need like 3 layers. We absolutely have the exact same issue. I think it's because oftentimes, as a chiropractic office, we're here to serve the community, and so that's our focus, and we get tunnel visioned on that, and we forget everything else that's going on, including taking care of ourselves. And so we have been really, really trying to time block in the things that we need. And we actually will sit down normally on Sundays, sometimes like Monday morning, sometimes Monday night, sometimes Saturday. And even if it's just 10 minutes, say, let's look at the calendar. Let's look at the calendar. And so we'll just look at the week ahead and make sure that everything matches. We have a Google Calendar that is for both of us, that all of our things go on, so I can know, you need to set up a meeting with Cassidy and I. Hold on, let me check. Okay, this is the time that works for us. And so then I can see where she's supposed to be, and I can be like, hey, all right, so it looks like you have that doctor's appointment today, right? And we just try to be accountable for each other on things. And then going over that just weekly, like reviewing what's ahead. I think I remember things so much more when I can, even if it's just Sunday and it's 5 days away or whatever, I have that call at 3 compared to just, the weeks, as you I'm sure well know, can just completely melt together. Mm-hmm. And then pretty soon you look and go, that's next week already? I thought that was like a month away. And you completely forget. And so reviewing the schedule together, having a schedule, we really do use technology a lot. There's a great app called Todoist, and it's linked together. It's on both of our phones, where if
we'll have, different lists. And if something needs to be done at the office, it gets put on the to-do list. And then you can assign it to a person and they'll get a notification. And so we'll know like, oh, I got to do this, or she's already taking care of that. So I can, that gets crossed off.
Yeah.
And that helps us stay organized a little bit more. And then if we have events, if, for example, we got to close the office or we have a call over lunch or something, that all gets put on the office schedule too.
Yes.
We started, I'll just straightforward emails to our front desk and just say, put this on the schedule, put this on the schedule. That way, when we look at the daily office schedule, which we're staring at constantly, we know, oh, okay, all right, that's right. I have that on Friday, or I have this on that day. So that's helped us too.
Yeah, I think that's the best, and something that's actually helped me probably the most is over the past couple of months, we've really made it a point to, if we have something during the day, or if we have something right before or right after work, we just put the event in our office schedule, like in our patient schedule for ourselves. So that way it's just a constant reminder.
Yep.
Nice. Very good. Well, I know we kind of talked about it a little bit that Cassidy has come in and she's just like rocking it with the practice. And that Ryan, you're the one that does, like the adjusting. But what would you say each of you, like what do you really bring to the table in all aspects? Like what are your strengths?
Hit it.
He is super patient. He's probably...
You heard it here.
I did.
I almost didn't say that. He's probably the most patient person I've ever met in my life, and I think that's hugely beneficial when dealing with the public, but especially when dealing with our patients. And that's something that from the very get-go, and as long as I can remember, I've struggled with, is I want everything to go a certain way, and I want everything to just, happen very quickly. And if someone is just being very slow about things or doing something that seems ridiculous, I really struggle with it. But he's
nice.
Like a good leveler.
I like that. She's also she's extremely detail oriented and organized and together, whereas I am a million places at one time. I love people. I love to connect with people. I love to talk to people. I love to be around people. I get my energy from people. That's why I didn't stay on the farm. And so that is something that I think I'm kind of pulling her out of her shell just a little bit. She loves doing things and she's great with people. She doesn't really just give herself the credit for it, but she is a little more introverted, I think. I'm extremely an extrovert. And so we're balancing each other there, because she'll also pull me back in and make sure that I occasionally recharge and take care of myself, because if I didn't have her, I wouldn't. And so she is definitely caring and nurturing in that way. And I'm extremely thankful for that, because I care for people all day, but not myself, and she does that. And so I'm kind of more of the face and she's the brains.
I don't know about that, but
oh my goodness.
He's not giving himself nearly enough credit. I do the dotting the I's and crossing the T's paperwork and the numbers stuff, but
that's important.
He does all of the marketing and the social media and the things that I think are awful. He does all the awful things.
See? Well, okay,
so it's a very good balance. We are extremely balanced in what we like and what we don't like, and there's really not a lot of argument over who gets to do things, because we both hate the other one's favorite things, and so it's worked out nicely.
Well, perfect. Okay, so let's talk about then at home. Who does what? Do you have assigned tasks at home? Please.
I wouldn't say assigned, but we definitely have things that won't get done if one of us doesn't do it.
Yes. Like laundry.
I do the laundry. Absolutely. I thoroughly, for whatever reason, enjoy doing laundry. I think it's because I like having nice, clean clothes and I'm an extraordinary neat freak, and I hate it when things are on the floor and when things aren't put away. So I am happy to just start loads of laundry and do them and put them away and fold them, and she just despises it.
It is the number one. If I could trade you anything. I could do anything to not have to do laundry.
However, I make a fantastic frozen pizza. Outside of that, that's where the expertise stops. She is an incredible cook. And so when we get home, I will, do something like start a load of laundry or feed the dog, and she'll start dinner. And so she cooks and makes like amazing meals, not just hot dishes or whatever. Like you make and so she absolutely cooks. I am happy cleaning. Actually, I like cleaning. So if she cooks, I clean. And
He does really love cleaning.
I get up early with the dog. I'm the super early morning person, so I am also her alarm clock. But I get up, I take care of the dog in the morning, but she takes care of the dog all day while I'm adjusting. And so that's a very good trade-off. I would say outside of that, we just kind of take care of whatever we can.
Yeah, it's a huge trade-off. So we're both super, super involved in obviously the practice, but also the community and on a couple different boards and committees and things like that. And so we have different seasons of insanity. Ryan's season of insanity is more in the summertime. And so I really take a back seat and take a back seat from the committees and things like that in the summer and take care of house stuff. And in the winter, it really flip-flops because that's when all of my stuff is nuts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is great.
Yeah, and so I think depending on, it's wonderful that we've both kind of been there for each other. If she's not feeling good, I'm happy to do those things. And if I'm not feeling good, she does the things. And then we trade. Depending if I have to work on Coeur sushi and like I need to go put my headphones on, I need to do this over here, then she'll do everything else because she knows that that's what's important, and vice versa.
Awesome. Very good.
Well, so I know you mentioned already that you guys kind of have Sundays set aside, but you take any other steps to really prioritize, and obviously for chiropractic office, your patient times or business times, but kind of beyond that, do you have any other ways that you really set in stone, hey, this is business time, this is personal time, boundaries, that kind of thing?
We don't talk about business in the bedroom, and we never discuss serious things after 10 p.m. One of our good friends actually, and the man who married us, said that the best piece of advice he could ever give us was to not have a serious conversation after 10 o'clock at night. And it's worked. And
you get like the penalty flag where if somebody starts talking about it, you can just say, after 10, I love you, I want to spend my life with you, we're going to talk about this later. And awesome. It's okay, because inevitably, it's just not the good time to talk about this stuff.
No.
Like you're short, you're tired, it just doesn't really work. Or before either of us have had coffee. That's also kind of
yes, 100% agree. That's us. Yeah. It's like
in the morning. I just know that I may get snipped at, and it's just okay. I'm a morning person, and she's not. So
I'm working on it.
Because we obviously live together and work together, we normally take one car to work, unless we have things we have to be different places. So our rules are kind of two, like in the car, we'll talk about maybe like what's coming up that day. And then on the, it's only about a 10, maybe max minute car ride, but on the way home, we have those 10 minutes to kind of talk about the practice and what happened that day. And can you believe what Mrs. Jones said? And oh my gosh, we got to do this tomorrow. And then once we get home and the comfies go on, then we're home. And we try to keep it to just us and being together and shut off. Because frankly, right now it's normally about 9:30 at night when we get home anyways.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And so there's nothing that's going to happen. Nothing we can take care of at that time. It's not going to matter till tomorrow, so don't stress about it. Just turn off, be together, go to bed together. And that's another thing. I used to stay up late and get up early. That's me.
He never sleeps.
And so what we found, though, is that I was staying up late. She was going to bed, and then I'd get up early. And so she would never consciously be in bed with me. And I come to find out after you finally told me is that that's just like, it's a very important time to you, is that just like 15 minutes before you fall asleep, where you're just in bed together, just talking together and just kind of connecting and like having that personal connection. And I was blowing it for work. And so I really tried to be better about that. And you helped me be better about that. That's fine. I can get up at whatever time I want, as long as we go to bed together. And so that's been another barrier that we've kind of set that's helped us a lot too.
A lot of communicating.
Yeah, imagine that.
Weird. That's a reoccurring theme. Reoccurring. Oh, everybody says that, so that's good.
Communication is good, and and listening is obviously just as important as communicating.
Active listening.
That's right. Active listening. Not being on your phone. I'm the worst.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes. What? Yes. And that's just because I'm constantly on my phone, which is something I've got to be better about too. But those are what
we always heard when we were getting ready to start our business together that, well, if you work with your spouse, then when you go home, all you're going to do is talk about work all day. And we kind of felt like, I mean, we certainly do sometimes, but we also felt like if we had separate jobs, that would still be there, where you come back at the end of the day and now you're just talking about, now you got to catch each other up on what happened.
Right.
By working together, you already know what happened. So
yeah.
You don't have to spend as much time catching up that way.
True. We cap it to the 10-minute car ride and then we try to shut it off.
Yeah. Well, okay. So you kind of alluded to, I mean, like in the beginning you were talking about a CA. You told us CA is currently out of the office or was for a couple weeks. So can you maybe give us an example of when you've had a crisis at work that and how it maybe affected home, or a crisis at home that affected work?
We've been really fortunate to not have any home crises that affected work, but as far as work stuff, that insurance thing.
Yeah, besides the insurance, just like the struggle, which I mean, inevitably that led to, things being really, really tight financially there during that little cliff.
Oh my gosh,
and that was something we had to be very diligent about communicating of, hey, like this is coming up and we got to pay these things. Like, don't freaking spend money this week. Like, I swear to God, if you buy Starbucks, I'm going to slap you. Stuff like that. And so that was where a really big challenge. I would say maybe a home challenge. Cassidy went through a couple weeks where she had some insane migraines.
Oh, yeah.
That we have since fortunately gotten figured out. But here was somebody that the practice, heavily relies on to do so much. And she could not even like open her eyes and get out of bed, which I was 100% okay with, and I just wanted you to be better. And so, she would stay home, or there was a day when she was curled up here in our back office, like on beanbag chairs with the lights off, like covered in a blanket, sleeping midday. And so we as the rest of the team at the office really had to pick up where she left off and try to get things covered, and nobody is Cassidy. And so that was a struggle that we had to figure out, like, oh my gosh, wow, you're really good at this stuff, and we're not. We know a lot of things that we don't know, and so that left a big gap and hole in the office. And so I'm so extremely thankful that you were okay and back, because I'm shocked it didn't burn down. So that's good.
So have you learned anything from that
That's
experience?
very important.
You're not allowed to get sick, Cassidy. None of that.
True. Ryan's also not allowed to get sick though, so
That's true.
It's fair. That's fair play. I learned that I need to train basically everybody on our team now has a sense of how to do everything. And so they can at least everybody can do enough of everybody else's job to keep the office running, and we'll just have like an extra long list of things on Friday that you have to ask questions about. Except for adjusting.
Except for adjusting. But hey, we have an associate now for that, so that's
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. So now Ryan can't get sick.
Not quite yet, but we're working on it. Yes.
It's stressful. Last year, Ryan got pneumonia, and he was out for like 3 or 4 days. Luckily, this sounds horrible, but luckily it was like in the middle of the week, so he was able to take like half the week off in the weekend and then come back. But it was
and the only reason that I took any of that off was because Cassidy made me, which again alludes back to the I don't take care of myself, Cassidy takes care of me thing, which I learned I have to occasionally slow down and take care of myself. And it's everything comes to a grinding halt if I do. For a lot of our life, and that was a hard lesson to learn because I hate admitting weakness and or being anything less than 100%, but definitely learned it. And I also learned that too when I also learned that I obviously didn't learn it, but when I was first opening, I pushed myself to the limit too, and I did that Cassidy, and then it took me a month to get better. I lost my voice for a month, and so I had to learn it again. So hopefully this time it'll stick.
Yeah.
I'm trying. But yeah.
Don't worry. Just Chris's phone is ringing. Could you hear that?
No, but my guy, that's welcome to the life of us, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
That is the weirdest thing, though. I've got a 999-999-9999 number.
I feel like that's an emergency or something. I feel like that's like some emergency alert.
I don't know. We'll see if they leave a message.
If it's important to leave a message, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Friday night.
So you said that you are an early riser. Are there any things that you do in the mornings to get your day started right?
My biggest thing is if I can have, even if it's half an hour, like 45 minutes to think about, like, what are my priorities today? Where do I need to be today? What do I need to be focused on today? And then I pick like 2 or 3 keywords that I need to be that day. For example, if it's like, okay, we got a crazy packed day, I need to be fast, focused, and efficient, then that'll be my, like, almost like the mantra that I'll kind of like hammer into my head a few times. And it doesn't necessarily have to be quiet meditation, even if it's like to heavy metal, old school heavy metal, which I love, on the way to the practice, like, this is what I need to be today. And then, like, it'll be like a rhythm, so that if I'm overwhelmed or something, I go back to what do I need to be today? I need, like, these are my priorities. This is what I need to be. Let's go. Focus. Bring it in. Come on, Bones, and get it together. And so I love that time in the morning to just get set and get focused.
I like to just I'm obsessed with bullet coffee. Obsessed with it. If I don't have it, I feel like I am less of a person. So I really like to have my bullet coffee and time to just look at my calendar for the day and for the week again, and then review my to-do list from the previous day and prioritize what needs to happen, and then also delegate. Not delegating was another struggle that we had in practice, because Ryan didn't want to delegate things to other people because he didn't want to overwhelm them, but he was overwhelmed, and I was basically doing the same thing. Like, we had hired a couple CAs and we trained them, but then we only let them do like phone calls and scheduling and take money, and we wouldn't let them do anything else. And so we were both still massively overwhelmed. So the time in the morning to review what needs to be done and then delegate it to the appropriate people, or follow up from the
deciding
day before.
What is it only I can do of this list? What is it only I can do? All right, that's what I have to do today. The rest of this stuff can be done by somebody else. Then we'll have people for that, and that's important. And I know it sounds weird, but having our coffee in the morning, I think it's just like a trigger of like, okay, like, I'm up, here we go, the day is on, now I'm prepared, even if it's just completely placebo mentally, we're ready to go. And so we're addicted. It's bad. And our office is literally next to Starbucks. It is 200 feet. It's 200 feet away from us. And so that has destroyed our bank account. But
we also get lots of patients from Starbucks. So
that's true. That's true. The line as it goes out, you like waiting for the Starbucks line, you stare at our practice. So perfect. That is pretty cool. We get it leads to referrals, and plus we like now have a whole family next door. So
yes.
Awesome. So do you guys have anything that you do in addition to everything else daily or weekly, either business wise or relationship wise, that you really kind of see as a real difference maker in your lives?
What I would say to this is having dinner together. That's okay. So you got a priority.
There we go.
I would say
these recorders are all definitely real. I don't know if you can hear our dogs barking in the background. Every time we do that, if we leave them in the house, then they usually find a bone and lay
drop it on the floor
and grind on it, and you can hear that.
Tonight,
if we put them outside, then they do nothing but bark.
Well, it's been beautiful here. Totally off topic, guys, but it's been beautiful here.
Don't worry about it. We'll come back.
Yeah. Okay, it's been beautiful, and I'm wondering. I think there's a lot of people walking by. Our house is on a corner.
Yeah.
Love it, but I'm pretty sure out like the back side of the yard where the dogs are, they're just barking at people walking by. So,
we actually have an office dog, office puppy. She's 10 months old. Her name's Keela. She's a chocolate lab. And she is the office puppy. And so everybody, I mean, I think she's more popular than anyone else here. Everybody loves her. And she's like our screening dog, to where if somebody comes in and they don't like being greeted by this adorable puppy, then we're like,
I don't think you're really fit.
I don't think you're a good fit for this practice. Like, I'm sorry.
Yes.
She'll draw a line and she'll annoy people to the fact where they won't come back, which it doesn't happen very often. So we're kind of like, good girl.
That's so
get them out of here, right? And
you mentioned having a dog earlier, and I was going to ask because I'm full-blown dog mom. So
it
was going to happen.
Same.
There was a Facebook video going around for a while with these dog moms that were rapping.
Yep.
I loved it. I watched it.
Yes.
So I think one thing that I found that I really, really kind of a game changer for us is when we have dinner together. Usually she makes it, I'm doing, like I said, laundry or whatever, but when we sit down, like in that moment, we always eat on our couch at the coffee table. Actually, we have a nice dining room table. We always sit at the couch at the coffee table. And right now for us, it's Parks and Rec. We put on Parks and Rec, and
excellent.
We eat dinner together. And it's like from the moment you sit down, there's just like this layer of stress that just comes off.
Yeah.
And it's like you turn the ignition off and it's done. And we eat together and we cuddle and we watch Parks and Rec and we laugh and I just feel like that's like our thing. Even on the toughest days, like it'll reset and then we can go to bed together happy for the next day. And so that's a game changer for me.
Absolutely.
I like that. I forget that there was a time that we didn't used to do that, because I remember we used to just come home. We were really bad about this for a while. We'd come home from work. We'd talk about work. We would eat dinner, still talking about work or working.
Yeah.
And then we would go to bed. And we wouldn't talk about work in the bedroom, but we would still go to bed and we'd wake up and that was our whole life.
Yeah. Yep. And just never turned off and never shut off mentally. I feel like everybody needs to shut off and turn off mentally.
Yeah.
Well, other than Parks and Recs, is there what's your guys' favorite? If you have a date night, date weekend, date time period, what's your favorite date?
Well, we've only done it once. One of our favorite memories is we just took like a weekend trip to Portland, which from Coeur d'Alene is how far was that?
Like 7 hours.
6 hours. So I was going there for CE, but Portland got a bunch of snow, which shut down Portland, and it canceled CE. So we just had this completely unscheduled, wide open, free weekend together in Portland, where we had a cool Airbnb, and we just got to decide what do we want to do, where do we want to go. We got mani-pedis. That was an experience.
Yes.
We had like a 4-hour brunch.
Oh my gosh, mimosa day.
Yeah,
it's
like mimosa day
on
basically.
Our calendars now. We just vision casted we just had this random idea for our business, and then spent 4 hours drinking mimosas and talking about it.
Yeah, it was good.
It was brilliant.
Perfect.
It was just amazing.
The inhibition was off, so the ideas were flowing.
Yes. Yeah.
And so that, honestly, that was one of our favorite memories. I think honestly, we love to eat. We love food. We love wine. And so one of our other favorite places is just a restaurant in town called Fire. And they actually catered our wedding. They do pizza. It's Fire Pizza. Okay. It's like artisan pizza. And we like it so much they catered our wedding.
How fun.
And so we will go there a lot. Otherwise, we love hanging out with what we call our family. And so we do the stupid thing together, but we have a lot of game nights. That's one of our favorite things, is bringing the family together for game nights.
Yes.
And so those are hanging out with the people that we love is probably one of our most recharging things too.
Definitely.
Very important. Well, that was, I mean, you guys have not been married for very long, and Cassidy has not. I mean, you're both still new to business. We are as well. But I really enjoyed listening to all the different things that you have learned and how you're definitely putting your relationship first. That's like the foundation for everything that you're building on. And so that's the idea behind these interviews, is to like really listen to couples and their stories and their struggles and their successes. And so thank you guys very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having us on. Thank you for doing this.
Fun.
I think this is an amazing idea that you guys are doing, and we are 100% supportive. And so if there's anything we can do to help push this would be amazing. We'll share it where we can. But thank you guys for doing this.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for being on our episode with us.
That's right.
definitely.
Hey, absolutely. And thank you again. We'll look forward to doing volume 2 or something in the future.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
Definitely.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.